Today I have a lot of interesting details for you. I sifted through all the latest news across social media and gathered some really cool tidbits from the recently released Endgame trailer. We'll also explore why the trailer received a massive amount of negative reactions from the community and why everyone is absolutely hating on all the information about the Paragon board. So get ready as we dive right into these topics in today's video. Let's kick things off with the most controversial topic today, the criticism surrounding the Endgame trailer. While most of you have expressed positive sentiments in the comment sections of my recent video, the official trailer on YouTube tells a different story. As it stands, we have 11,000 thumbs up and a whopping 13,000 thumbs down. It's no exaggeration to say that the majority of viewers are quite unhappy with what they've heard and especially seen. This dissatisfaction stems partly from the very limited new information in the video, with only a few tiny news tidbits to whet our appetites. The other main source of discontent is undoubtedly the Paragon system. Unfortunately, Blizzard hasn't done itself any favors with its presentation. Throughout the entire video we're shown almost nothing but normal tiles with the most basic of buffs. There's some +5 dexterity, +5 strength, +5 intelligence, then a few more instances of +5 dexterity and intelligence, and then there is some +5 willpower, and so on. I think you get the point. Then we're briefly shown two magical tiles, one offering woohoo, a whopping +7 strength, and another finally providing a more substantial +50 armor at least. However, the grey, normal tiles simply aren't very exciting. If I wanted to showcase my Endgame Paragon system and generate some hype among an already skeptical community, I would display a selection of rare and legendary tiles that are truly powerful. As I've demonstrated in my previous Endgame video, such fields actually do exist. But in the official trailer, not a single rare field is featured and only one legendary tile is presented. One of the more generic ones at that. Cheap Shot grants a 5% damage increase for each crowd-controlled enemy nearby with a maximum of 25%. Quite frankly, this just isn't the right way to hype up the players for the release. And if you've enjoyed the video up to this point, I'd greatly appreciate a thumbs up. To stay up to date with everything related to Diablo 4, feel free to subscribe to the channel. And if you activate the bell, you won't miss any of my future videos. Now, the frustration surrounding the Paragon system doesn't end there. In the recent weeks, the community's biggest concern has been the exorbitant cost of resetting and redistributing skill points in the endgame. According to the developers, the cost should be so high that creating a new character and bringing it up to the endgame would require less time investing than farming the necessary gold for the reset. However, a recent tweet from Rod Ferguson suggests that the actual cost is not prohibitively expensive. A somewhat vague statement that leaves quite some room for interpretation. In the trailer, we catch a glimpse of the likely cost. We see the skill tree of a character with 53 skill points available, suggesting that they are beyond level 50. Here, resetting a single point costs 100,000 gold, meaning that resetting all skill points would require nearly 5.5 million gold. This is a far cry from the roughly 3000 gold required at level 25 during the beta. By the way, the character in the trailer has just over 2.5 million gold. But let's circle back to the Paragon board. I assume that we're looking at a level 100 character here. In the game, we can acquire a total of 200 Paragon points through leveling and an additional 20 points through the renown system. Some of the tiles have already been activated and the player still has 148 Paragon points left. Resetting a tile costs 53,666 gold. As the player spends points down to 86, the reset cost remains the same, which means we would need 11.8 million gold to reset all Paragon points. By the way, the player currently has just 4 million gold. Of course, we don't know how long it takes to farm such an amount of gold, but it doesn't sound like something one can do effortlessly or have stashed away at any time. So, either Rod Ferguson's statement on Twitter was intentionally vague and misleading, or the trailer was created using an older build of the game, where the changes to reset costs had not yet been integrated. Either way, it wasn't smart of Blizzard to present it this way without being aware of the reaction it would provoke. But what do you think? Will respeccing become unaffordable, and is that a good thing? Or do you believe Blizzard will backtrack and make the entire system more accessible to the masses? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. But I've also discovered some genuinely exciting and cool things in the trailer for you. It seems like we'll be meeting some familiar faces in Diablo 4, and Ariel from Diablo 2 appears to be making a comeback. What do you think? I think she's undoubtedly returning, which is very cool. Here we can also see the third of 3 world bosses. We've already fought Ashava the Pestilent, and we've seen the gold-spewing, chest-hurling teleporting monster in official videos. Now we've caught a glimpse of the third world boss. What do you think? New boss or old acquaintance? The resemblance to Mephisto is undeniable, I'd say. And we have official confirmation that the developer in the trailer who said that legendary aspects for the Codex of Power in dungeons would only have a drop chance misspoke due to excitement. So everything remains as it was in the beta. Each dungeon will guarantee a specific aspect for your Codex of Power upon first completion. Great news in my opinion. And for those who wondered if there will still be an official dev stream about the endgame, yes, it will definitely take place on April 20th with special guest YouTuber Riker. And at this point I'd like to give a quick shout out to my partner Instant Gaming. There you can get gift cards for your respective store at the best price. If you want to save money on your next games and support me a little in the process, I'd be really delighted. The appropriate links can be found in the video description below. Now let's continue with some interesting information we've gathered from Twitter and social media. First, Mike Ibarra himself has provided information on the early access release times. Early access for the Deluxe and Ultimate editions on all platforms will be Thursday, June 1st at 4 PM PDT. These are the first details we've received regarding the exact times if you need to plan early. However, there will likely be an official graphic closer to the release date that lists the details for all time zones. A very intriguing question from a Twitter user was whether Diablo 4 would feature truly challenging bosses. Bosses that require players to sink their teeth into and take dozens of attempts to finally defeat. Rod Ferguson had some great news for us. Apparently, the level 100 boss and the bosses of the so-called capstone dungeons, which are the regional dungeons that unlock new world tiers, will be quite difficult and challenging. An ARPG needs these kinds of fights, and I hope more will be added over time. The difference between open world bosses and these dungeon bosses is that players must face them solo or with their own group without external help. I'm really excited and looking forward to these challenges. Moving on to another question, a user on Twitter asked if there would be WASD support for keyboard players in Diablo 4. This long desired feature would allow for more direct character control without constantly clicking with the mouse, similar to the movement options available to controller users. Unfortunately, according to Rod Ferguson, this feature won't be available at launch. Well, at least there is hope that it may be introduced later in the game's life. Additionally, as some have asked in the comments, I can confirm that there will be no gear sets at launch, but I am quite certain that we will see these green items return eventually. Another user wanted to know if the armory would make a return, allowing for easy loadout swaps, which is an extremely important feature when experimenting with builds or switching between activities while playing solo or in a team. Sadly, the answer is brief and to the point, not at launch. I also found an interesting comparison on Reddit showing how much closer we are to our characters in Diablo 4. In some instances, I found it uncomfortably close. There are moments in Diablo 4 where the camera is zoomed out more than in other areas, showcasing the difference quite clearly. Comparing this to Diablo 2 further highlights the drastic change. I believe this might be due to performance reasons, but I must admit that it bothered me a few times in D4. Sometimes you can't even see where you're actually going until you're almost directly in front of it. A complete map of all areas in Diablo 4 along with all points of interest has also surfaced on Reddit. However, since it originates from a leak, I won't show it in this video. Check it out on Reddit if you're interested. What I can show you is a map of Diablo 4's open world and the area playable in the beta, which makes it very obvious that the world is quite vast indeed. Another Reddit user suggested a feature that would allow players to lock certain items in their inventory, preventing accidental selling or salvaging. I have no idea why some loot-based games still launch without this feature. It's a no-brainer for me that this should be included in the game at release. And I have a neat little detail for you. Depending on your druid's hair color, the fur color of their animal forms will also change. It's not earth-shattering, but it's a cool touch. But that's all for this video. As always, a thumbs up is greatly appreciated, and if you enjoyed this video, you'll surely like my last video displayed here on the screen. So why not take a look? I hope you all have an awesome day, and I'll catch you in the next one.